All right, about 2.5 hours, a little less from kickoff or so. Actually, we're closing in. Mansfield-Madison on the road in Demon Country to take on Westlake. A couple of 9-1 teams at Touches Field. And that's coming up live here tonight on Sports Time Ohio at 7:30. Should be a very interesting matchup for the Demons who are in the playoffs. Let's head out to Westlake Live where Ryan Cavanaugh is standing by. And it is a grass field. So I guess first and foremost, Rhino, how are the field conditions out there?
Well, I saw some Westlake personnel as I was walking up. I said, "How's the field?" He said, "I've seen worse." I walked out, I got to about the numbers, and I decided I wasn't wearing the proper footwear because every step you sunk into it. I'll tell you this, Mike, I'm glad you and I are on the call tomorrow night and not tonight because after about a quarter, you won't know what number anybody's wearing. It's going to be a mud bowl.
And it's going to be perfect conditions for Westlake, who played in the pouring rain last week against Brecksville, so early advantage for the home squad.
Yes and no. I mean, Madison played through the same thing against Mansfield. What's important is both these teams are coming off of dominant performances. As you mentioned, the Westlake defense stepped up and did what most teams can't do. That's stop the offense of the Brecksville Bees. They have Logan Paul, the terrific running back and linebacker, and he's built to play in the mud like this. Ken Axel, their quarterback, can also do the job running the football, and he can throw when they need to. Two very similar teams, though, as Madison comes in with their own running back of Cale Huss. 1,800 yards rushing, set a school record this year. And to be honest, Madison is coming in liking the conditions. They're a bully type of football team. They feel they have the advantage up front, and they intend to come out here and impose their will and push Westlake around.
Yeah, it should be a good football game. You'll get to see that one live here on Sports Time Ohio coming up at 7:30. Game that Ryan mentioned that he and I will be calling tomorrow night at Willoughby South. The field has been buzzed thanks to Channel 19's helicopter, and Willoughby South, man, looking for a first-round playoff win as they go up against North Royalton. And you're talking about two high-powered offenses on what should be a little bit of a wet field, but maybe not as wet as what you're standing on. But how do you like that one for us tomorrow night?
Well, it's interesting. North Royalton lost out on a home field advantage in a home playoff game by losing to Hudson last week. And a reason for that loss was playing in the wet and the windy conditions. It's going to be muddy, and that favors Willoughby South. The reason for that is Kareem Hunt. We all know Mr. Hunt's yardage, 12 yards a carry. He averages 4.25 touchdowns a game. And in the mud, it's easier for Kareem Hunt to run straight behind a very big and talented offensive line than it's going to be for North Royalton and their spread offense with a lot of timing routes. It's easier to run straight ahead than it is for receivers to plant, get out of their break, and be where quarterback Travis Tarnowski is expecting them to be when he throws the football.
Yeah, and Travis Tarnowski has really had a great season. I think that's going to be an interesting offense that sets up and counters Willoughby South. And we've talked so much about the offenses, but really it's going to come down to a stop or two. And nobody's been able to stop Kareem Hunt. Can anybody slow down Travis Tarnowski? It's going to be interesting for both sides of the football.
Yeah, and Royalton's had problems with their defense this year. They're going to need guys like Britton Barnes to step up, and they're going to need to hit Kareem Hunt early. He's the type of runner that as soon as he gets to the second level, he's gone. He's just too fast, and he's powerful. So when you hit him at the line with the front seven, you got to wrap him up and wait for help. And, of course, Ty Russ, who leads the Willoughby South defense, and of course their defensive backs are going to have to cover. And also, more importantly, something we kind of miss is the running ability of Travis Tarnowski. They have to keep him in the pocket and contain him.
Yeah, he certainly is multidimensional. Going to be an interesting game tonight. You'll see that one here tomorrow live at 7 o'clock on Sports Time Ohio. St. Thomas Aquinas travels into Crestview tonight, partner. What do you think about that matchup?
Well, this is a rematch, and it's a Crestview team that won last year 41-20. The bad news for Thomas Aquinas is a lot of these Crestview guys are back, especially Nick Blower, who set a school record 324 yards rushing in the matchup against Thomas Aquinas last week. So it's going to be important for the Aquinas defense, including ravishing Eric Rude, the leader of the defense, to get his hands on Blower and slow him down. And you have Colin Gilbert also for Crestview, who's a great quarterback, also has the ability to run. Blower averages 12.4 a carry. Gilbert averages over 10 a carry. So it's almost pick your poison. And then, of course, Aquinas answers with a little bit of a more balanced attack, led by quarterback Anthony Moglen. Only a sophomore, but very experienced, and he's the kind of quarterback who won't lose the game for you. He only averages 105 yards passing, but he has thrown 15 touchdowns and only 1 interception. This game's going to be won in the trenches, though, and I mentioned the bully type of team. That's Crestview. They come in feeling like their offensive line is going to be able to impose their will and open up holes for Nick Blower.
Yeah, 56 points a game is no joke. Crestview can put it on you. Finally, Western Reserve at Shadyside, and Shadyside's a team that has gone deep into the playoffs the last couple of years, but their schedule has always come into question, and now you get a Western Reserve squad here in the first round. Is Shadyside for real, I guess, is the big question.
Well, you will not find out until today because the schedule has not been tough. They've had mostly cakewalks. They've only allowed 6.3 points a game from their defense. But again, it's hard to tell when you're playing the level of competition Shadyside has played. And Andy Haken, Western Reserve, is certainly going to come in and give them a different look on offense than they've expected, led by their quarterback, Nick Allison. Western Reserve, they're battle-tested. These two teams know each other, but we're going to find out real quick if Shadyside can keep up with Western Reserve.
Yeah, you mentioned it. Shadyside's played some West Virginia teams, and it's really tough to judge just where they are at this year. And, depending on the film that you get when you're playing teams that are inferior in a lot of ways, I guess for the best word to pick it, it's tough to really game plan for a team like this.
Well, you're right. They have the same problem as Steubenville. When you play teams from Canada, from West Virginia, it is not the same brand of football as Ohio. But it's also on Andy Haken, Western Reserve, as you pointed out. You have to come into the game saying we're going to run our own game plan. We're not going to be concerned with what Shadyside does because, quite frankly, you can't get a good read. You can't gauge how good the players are when they're playing against inferior competition.
Ryan, good stuff. Stay there. We'll bring you back for the Pick'em segment as we try to end your reign at some point throughout this competition. Ryan Cavanaugh joining us live from Westlake with the kickoff coming up here live tonight on Sports Time Ohio at 7:30. Coach comes back in the studio to join us. It is time for the Pick'em segment, playoff style. That's coming up next when the Ohio High School Kickoff Show rolls on.